Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Men's Soccer Edition, and my guest for this week's show is none other than sophomore goalkeeper on the men's soccer team here at Menlo College, Andres Zimmermann. Andres, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's start by talking a little bit about yourself. Now, you and Angelo Willi both came to Menlo this year after transferring from Bluefield College, and he told me a couple of weeks ago that he kind of helped you find your way here to Menlo College. How big of a role did Angelo actually play in getting you to transfer?
I think, to be honest, he was like the main reason why I came here, because actually I wasn't planning to transfer like after my first year at my old school, and then Angie came here for I think 1 week, and he saw like the school, the team, he met the coaches, and he came back and he was so excited, and he told me everything about the school. And then he also told me that that Keith, our coach, might be interested in like signing me, and I was like, I mean, I liked the school in Virginia a lot, because I met like a lot of good people there. But on the other side, I was also like, if I can't come to California, to such a nice place, a nice city, to a team that has like a really professional environment and everything, I just couldn't say no then. So I trusted Angie on what he told me about the school, and so I just decided to come here too then.
Awesome. Yeah, and I've heard from Keith Lambert also about some of the previous teams you've played for back home in Switzerland. Why don't you tell me about some of the soccer scene over there in Switzerland and how it prepared you for soccer out here in the States?
I just had the privilege to play for Basel, which is like or at that time it was like the biggest club in Switzerland. Right now they're struggling a little bit, but
because you're not there.
Maybe that's one of the reasons, but I doubt it. But I definitely think that playing for all the youth teams and playing for the second team at the end and being part of like the first team for like a few months really helped me to get prepared like for playing soccer here. And I also think that not only me, but like all the European guys, they bring like kind of their own experience to the team. So, and I think like that's one of the reasons why we're doing so good right now, because it's not only the American culture, how to play soccer, it's like everyone brings like his own experience, what he knows, what he thinks about, and our coach like respects what we have to say, and I think he values it a lot.
Off the air, we were talking about diversity in the workplace right before we went on. This is diversity on the soccer field, and it's paying off for the Oaks right now. So let's talk about the team a little bit. Last week, the Oaks gave up the first goal in each game, including the first two in the loss to the Masters University. What seemed to be the reason for some of the slower starts? Because you guys have been hot coming out of the gate and scoring first in almost every single game.
I think it's always hard to determine what exactly went wrong, but I feel like in the last games we had one thing we struggled a lot is that we just didn't score. Like we had a lot of chances, but we didn't score in the beginning, how we did like in the first games that went really well for us. And I mean, then it's just soccer. I mean, if you do mistakes, even if those are like small mistakes, you can see goals. If no one would do mistakes, there would be no goals in soccer. So, and I don't want to blame like individual players now. So I just think that the difference between now and the games we had in the beginning of the season is probably just that we made some mistakes in the execution or whatever it was, and that was like the difference.
Yeah, so you guys had 8 corner kicks in the second half of that game against the Masters, and you didn't score like you mentioned. You were having trouble getting goals off of those set pieces. So how do you go about fixing that in practice? I'm sure that's been a large thing that Keith Lambert has been talking about this week for practice as you guys get ready to go to Arizona.
I mean, we practice a lot of different things, and for example, we practice crosses a lot because we never scored after a cross, or like we had difficulties in doing that. And now I also think like during the games we had against Masters, we had like so many corner kicks we didn't score. That's true, but we had like our chances where we hit the crossbar one time, or where we were playing the ball from one side to the other in front of their goal. But I completely agree. Like in the end, at some point, we just have to score. And obviously, I'm a defensive player, so I can't really tell you what to do to score. But if I knew, I would let coach know. But I don't.
You'd be playing both ways at that point if you knew what to do. Okay, so let's talk about something you know a little bit. A successful defense is often a huge aid to the play of the successful goalkeeper, and that's been the case for you this season. How has the back line proven to be absolutely pivotal in not only your role as a goalkeeper, but the entire team's success?
I think the back line we had so far did a great job. I think it's not only their performance on the pitch. I think it's also mentally like a big part of it. I had the privilege to know like those 4 guys that I play with on the pitch and beside it, and I think they're all like great persons, and their mindset is perfectly like to play soccer, and I think that their mindset is like the biggest part of like the performance they're bringing every game.
Now this week the Oaks are going to Arizona for a pair of games that have been surprising so far early on in the GSAC schedule. You guys need to find some momentum down there. So how are you going to get back on track and find that momentum in Arizona?
Our coach always says like we have to think of every game we have as it is like the most important game, and I feel like that's a pretty good approach like to every game that comes. I honestly think what we have to do is just take every game step by step, not think about the game after it or like the nationals that are coming up. And I think if we just take every game as its own, and if we give our best, I don't think that there are a lot of teams that can beat us.
Absolutely. So far, there haven't been this season.
Yeah.
All right, Andres, let's get to the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I'm going to ask you 3 off-the-wall questions. Give me your best answers.
Okay.
Question number 1. Which teammate complains the most when the weather is hot?
I would definitely say Angelo.
Really?
Yeah.
So back that way in Virginia, I'm assuming, in the summer when it gets nice and toasty, or perhaps in the fall, I guess, because you guys really weren't there in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, in Virginia, it was hot, and Angelo was complaining that it was hot, and then we had snow until April, and he was complaining that we had snow until April.
So what is he like then?
I don't know.
He likes the California weather, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely nice here that it's not like super hot, but it's like warm. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy that.
So what's it like back home in Basel?
So we have like the 4 different seasons of the year. So we have winter, autumn, spring, summer. And during summer, it's like, I would say it's really warm, sometimes rainy, but warm. And then I would compare like autumn to the weather we have here. Like it drops off, it cools down a little bit. Winter, we have snow.
Okay.
But I mean, hopefully not until April like we had in Virginia. And I mean, I wouldn't say, it's just like cold in winter and warm in summer, but not like super hot.
So it's nothing radically different from what you would get most parts of the United States.
Yeah, I guess it's just Angelo who likes to complain.
Angelo, yeah, exactly. He can give off that vibe sometimes. Question number 2, which teammate finds the best internet memes?
I would say Wicho, Luis. Just because he's a funny guy. He's always joking around. So if you want to see a good meme, you want to hear a good joke, he's definitely the person to talk to.
The internet never fails when it comes to finding stuff like that, and I imagine Wicho certainly would find some of the best ones, as long as hopefully they're PG appropriate, Unrooted appropriate anyways. And then question number 3, if you could take a penalty shot against any player pretending to be a goalie, who would you want to face and why?
I'm sorry if I repeat myself. I'll probably say Angelo again because he's so small. So it will probably be an easy task.
You have a pretty good chance of finding the back of that. Have you ever tried doing that before?
Honestly, no, because I would be so scared to like not to score because as a goalkeeper, it's always like penalty kicks are you can only win. Like if you catch one, it's nice, you're the hero. But if not, no one really complains about it. But I feel like as a player, it's the opposite. Like you have to score, or everyone expects you to score, and if you don't, you're kind of
and especially if you're trying to score on your college friend, your college roommate, your teammate, like all those things on top of each other. Like you have to score, man.
Yeah,
it's true. Put up or shut up time, right? You got to do it. All right, Andres, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, folks. The men's soccer team on the road in Arizona this weekend. The back half of that weekend is against Arizona Christian. They're receiving votes in the latest NAIA coaches poll, and that matchup is set for Saturday in Phoenix with a start time of 1:30 p.m. We invite you to tune into next week's episode when Andres Zimmermann will select the next interviewee by me, Brian Brownfield, right here on Unrooted Men's Soccer Edition. Until then, we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.